I am a small town girl. My journey began here on Warren Street in Hudson, where my parents and grandparents shared a duplex. My sisters and I were much loved by parents who valued education above all else. I read constantly and continued to have lifelong friends from my kindergarten class. If anyone were to ask me what I hoped to be as I grew up, the answer was always the same. I hoped to be happy, and I was. I became a wife, educator, and the very proud mother of 3 amazing children. I was spontaneous, not in the least bit reflective. I didn't have to be. Things came quite easily until they didn't. My husband, Don, and I had planned a birthday party for our son, Michael's 7th birthday on January 15th, 2007. We invited 6 6-year-old boys to that afternoon celebration. Those 7 boys ran in circles for hours, shrieking, screaming, playing. They had a wonderful time. But as the last child was getting ready to leave the party, we heard our son Michael scream. It was a scream we hadn't heard before. A primal scream laced with pain and terror. A scream that would alter life as we knew it. 2 days and 2 hospitals to deliver a diagnosis, a massive left brain ischemic stroke. Our lives changed on a dime. What we did not know at the time was that pediatric stroke was one of the leading causes of death in children in the United States. 6 of every 100,000 children are affected annually by stroke. Michael's left brain injury would attack the dominant right side of his body. It would hit the language center of his brain. There would be cognitive and behavioral ramifications as well. While Michael, at age 7, was grappling with a new identity, the emotional impact of his illness tested the dynamics of our family. We were frightened, scared to death, and angry. How could this happen? After 2 days in the intensive care unit in the hospital, not knowing if there would be a recovery, my husband Don and I solidified our roles. He would pray, and I would push. There was so much to learn. What I discovered nearly immediately was that language and communication would be the skills that would facilitate Michael's road to recovery. All language would be powerful: reading, speaking, gesturing, listening, and yes, writing. My solace during those endless days and nights sitting bedside vigil became my notebook. It became a living, breathing document chronicling Michael's days. I wrote down everything: names, dates, times, doctors, medications, procedures, even some late night gossip I was privy to. I recall a team of doctors being in Michael's room, and I questioned them about a procedure that he was to have after referring to my notes. They retreated to the hallway, and I heard one of them say, "The mother's clearly upset. She doesn't know what she's talking about." Well, this mother knew exactly what she was talking about. She had it all down in writing. It struck me at that moment. My pen and voice were power, and language would be my tool. It would be Michael's tool as well. It would be days before he uttered his first words. We had feared that language was lost to him. But almost immediately, we noticed a lot of movement with his left hand. It wasn't until an assessment with a speech pathologist, the first one, that we had learned he was employing a skill, or attempting to, a skill he had learned at daycare at age 3 to communicate with us, to request food, to tell us he loved us. After Michael regained his speech, it became our daughter's turn to tap the power of language. Armed with a magnadoodle and their senses of humor, they would draw silly pictures with written captions and quiz him over and over. These were the types of activities that were going to help him to remap the connections of objects to words to his brain. As a result of this crisis, my family and I were learning the true benefits of small-town Hudson life. That lack of anonymity that many times in the past felt like a curse became a tremendous gift. Our community rallied around us in all the best ways. Prayers, positive thoughts, gifts of meals, and money poured in. It was an avalanche of love. After several weeks in the hospital, Michael was moved to a rehab center where he would work very, very hard to restore as much as possible of what had been lost to him. We all returned home to a new normal. Michael returned to first grade, half days. The charming, vibrant boy had a new label: traumatic brain injury, a label that will follow him for the rest of his life. At home, we continued to battle the damage to Michael's brain. We had very long days. Night after night, my husband and I would sit with him at the kitchen table, working on reading, phonics, and speaking. He had limited short-term memory, and the struggle to retrieve short vowel sounds, would go on and on and on. Michael's illness had opened a whole new world. At age 47, I had become a healthcare and educational advocate. This was a world where language held power and words became a force. As I started to concentrate my efforts on the power of language that had been lost to my son, my professional life became focused on creating, sustaining, and extending a culture of literacy in this Hudson community that had given us so much. After 22 years as a classroom teacher, I accepted a new position in the Hudson City School District, literacy coach. Many like-minded, creative people helped to further my focus, which is how the Hudson Children's Book Festival was born in 2009, a festival that brings thousands of attendees to Hudson each year in the name of children's literacy. In this beautiful building, we started a family literacy community book group. Soon after, we launched the Hudson Reads mentorship program, a mentorship program that pairs over 100 members of this community, and I know a lot of you are in this room today, pairs them with our 3rd through 6th grade students as weekly reading mentors. 7.5 years have passed since Michael's stroke. He has now lived more of his life as a stroke patient than not. He just began his freshman year at Hudson High School with the kindergarten class he began with, the class of 2018. He loves music and sports. He made the honor roll each semester at the junior high school and is currently playing the part of FDR in a community theater production of Annie. guy, Michael, has a mind of his own, wonderful friends, and is a kind and fine young man. We have great hope that future medical advances will help with the retraction that lingers on the right side of his body. As for me, I continue to hold on to my focus on communication and literacy. Thousands of children have now had these immersive experiences with literacy. Reading, writing, speaking, listening, and signing. These are the tools we all need for our journey. My journey, this journey has transformed me. Not all bad things have to end badly. Thank you.